All right, welcome to the Container Security Weekly Group Discussion. The goal of this meeting is to discuss any demos that have been either pre-recorded or share them here if that's something that anyone has prepared, review issues that Sam, our PM, has identified for planning breakdown, and I guess I missed one item, following up from any previous discussions. So looking at the agenda for today, hopefully everyone has had a chance to review this in advance. Zamir shared a demo with us today. Did anyone have any questions? I hope everyone had a chance to review it. It was also shared in Slack. Wayne's got a dance for us about it.
Great work. Not, of course, just not on the demo, but also on all the work to add the functionality. It's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. It looks great. I'm really excited about that new feature. So thanks for your work on that one.
Cool. And Sam is our target audience for demos as the PM. So as long as Sam doesn't have any questions or follow-ups, I think that we can move on.
Nope, I'm happy. It looked great.
Awesome. So we didn't have issues for planning breakdown. I think the items that Sam brought to this agenda were a little earlier in the workflow for that, but I'll let Sam speak to that. So Sam, I'll let you take over.
Yep, so we don't have any issues to cover today. We've got the, upcoming, we've got container behavioral analytics that we want to take to minimal. We're still figuring that out. That's in the problem validation stage. Also, we've got the on-off toggle for Cilium, and that's currently in the design stage. So I don't know that we have anything more to discuss there. Andy's working on the designs. I'm working on the problem validation. Hopefully we'll have more there for you next week. But I did want to share.
Which one is it on Cilium that's next, Sam?
Sorry, what's that?
Which feature under Cilium is next? Can you repeat that?
Turning it on and off.
Turning it on and off. Okay.
And giving the users a way in the UI to turn it on and off.
And then the
and we've discussed that one at least just like briefly a couple times here. But without designs, it hasn't really, we haven't quite finished that discussion.
And then we also want to finish up the work on statistics for Cilium as well, correct?
That should be in 12.10.
Already? I
You
think
guys are already working on that, right?
Yeah.
Because Arthur started that back in 12.9. That's already past the planning breakdown stage. That should be in dev.
Yep. Makes sense. Yeah, I'm just saying that'll be Arthur's priority when he gets back, is to finish that. He was close before he went on vacation. So yeah, I guess I was answering a different question than one that wasn't asked. That's Arthur's priority when he gets back.
So I did want to just, well, first of all, let me share my screen. Maybe this will address that next question here at the same time. So if you ever want to know what priorities are, let me reshare. Sorry, just a minute. No, it's not picking the right window here. There we go. So as far as my priorities go, you can always see them by coming to the defend board. And for some reason, I'm not scroll right. There we go. So I always keep mine in a ranked order list, and you can see them by looking for the label DevOps Defend, and then looking for the label of Group Container Security. And then if you filter by the label of direction, those are the issues that I'm driving that contribute directly to our direction. And so we do work outside of that, but it's not really as directly driven by me. So, things like bugs also get prioritized, but those don't necessarily move us along the direction path. So if you filter by direction, you can see any of that new feature work that we're doing. So cluster network policy, statistics, all of this should be in progress for 12.10. And then here's what we've got for 13.0.
Just a note on
this one
for you, Sam. Sorry to interrupt. Especially
in
container security, I feel like there will eventually be issues where the defend team is contributing to other stages within the product. So you're limiting this label to DevOps Defend right now is not exactly right. If we wanted to or we're dependent on
Sure.
making changes in monitor or configure, that could be different and we could end up losing an issue. So I'm kind of a broken record on that, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page. Group is the who, so the folks that are on this call. DevOps is the stage within the application where the change is happening. So it's like the where.
No, thanks for calling that out. That's true. We should remove that label. It's a good catch. So especially where a big chunk of the 13.0 work is still in the problem validation stage. I know it still has a ways to go before it's ready for 13.0, but we are moving along rather quickly. So I just wanted, for the sake of visibility and transparency, to share some details about what we're doing there. First of all, in that Google Drive folder that I have linked in the agenda, it takes you to a folder where we've got pretty much everything that we're doing there. And I just wanted to call out a couple pieces of the research that we're doing. One thing that we're doing with the participants is we're playing what we call buy a feature game. And part of this is because container security is very broad, and even the IDS IPS market inside of container security tends to be pretty broad. And when you look at the way Gartner talks about cloud workload protection, or the way that different vendors are approaching it, they tend to do a whole host of a lot of different things, and different open source tools give us some of these pieces, but there's not really a good, single open source tool that does absolutely everything we need. And so as we go down this work, we're trying to prioritize which aspects we tackle first and which aspects maybe we don't do at all because customers don't care about them. So really the way this works is I'm giving participants a bucket of money, $2,500, and they can choose which of these features to buy. If they move it into the yes or strong yes column, then it deducts that amount of money. If they moved into no or strong no, then they just didn't buy it. So, so far I've been able to do this with 2 of our existing customers. We've got 3 participants sourced through the Respondent platform that I'm meeting with later this week. And we've got a few more that we'll be scheduling next week. So again, we're moving through rather quickly. In addition to this buy a feature game, we have a script where we walk through various different questions with them to help validate, the direction that we're going and what we're doing. Some of that is focused on container network security. Some of it is cross-applicable for all of the different, categories that we're approaching. And, some of it is more IDS IPS focused. So again, just trying to answer the big unknowns and leveraging on those if there are areas that we think we know the answer to, that we're fairly confident in. We only get so much time, so we're trying to leave those questions out, but really just hone in on the areas that we want to make absolute certain to get right, so that we're not spending time building things that customers don't actually want. Any questions, commentary on the problem validation research? We will be recording all of those user interviews, and we take fairly extensive notes, and all of those get posted into that folder in Google Drive. So, if any of you are interested in hearing it straight from the customer or the participant, that always is a resource to go to. And that's all from my end.
Thanks, Sam. Does anyone have questions?
I'd say I think it's good stuff. I've seen this kind of way of getting priorities from customers work really, really well in the past. So I'm glad we're doing it.
And just a note, Sam, some of those documents that you've linked, you don't have the right permission. So I'm requesting, but you might want to just look overall, so you don't have to do it for individuals.
Yeah, so the UX research team owns that Google Drive folder.
Okay.
I'm guessing they'll need to give you access if you don't have access already.
Thanks. Great, that was really informative. Wayne, the next agenda items are yours.
Yeah, actually, the next 2. So Sam already answered on 4C, the last one on the list. So thanks, Sam. So I think on this issue reported with the dog, other part of GitLab, dog fooding the WAF feature, which is great. We're glad they are. I think we've got a good plan for it. Nope, sorry. That was something I deleted. This is a different one. So it's really just a request to the group to investigate, to think about and comment asynchronously on the deploying CNS and WAF without requiring a customer to use CI/CD or Auto DevOps. So we've got a brainstorming session scheduled for tomorrow on that. So please, let's not wait for that. Please read it over and put your thoughts in there as comments or edits, etc., before the meeting, so we can work on it as asynchronously as reasonably possible between now and then. Any overview? I know why, Sam, but like it'd probably be good for the group. Give a quick overview on the why we're brainstorming on this. Why is this important?
Yeah, so first I just want to be clear, like this is, right now we are just in brainstorming phase. Like my ask to Wayne was to put together an architecture of how this might be possible. So really approaching it from that architecture perspective. This is important because right now, in order to use Cilium, you have to already be using CI and CD and Auto DevOps. And so that funnel limits the base of customers that are able to use container network policies rather substantially. The latest statistic that I saw, and take this with a huge grain of salt, because this comes from our usage pings, and the usage ping is not unique per customer or even per project. So, some customers may be unfairly weighted in that sample size, but right now, out of all of the usage pings we receive, only 0.5% are actually using CI and CD and Auto DevOps. And so, if we're limiting our customer base to 0.5% of our GitLab customers, that's a really small pipeline to start with. And then we have to take those customers and convince them to use Cilium. So we really need a way that exists outside of Auto DevOps and ideally even outside of CI/CD, where we can deploy things like Cilium and other open source technologies to provide some container security, again, without requiring use of those other features. So some sort of independent, way to push and read and write not only technologies, but also configuration states in and out of containerized environments. Doing that is it's strategic in a number of ways. Not only is it going to widen that customer base, but it also will potentially let customers start there in their GitLab journey. So right now, most customers start at the left end of the development cycle where they're writing and committing code, but this will actually let us start by selling to the security organizations and have them start securing their containers and work backwards to get the DevOps teams to start, development and engineering teams to start committing their code into GitLab as well. So, the strategic implications are pretty significant. I would say that, we're not yet looking for like a proof of concept or actual development work to be done on that. If and when we want that to be done, we'll put it on the backlog and we'll create issues separate for those and prioritize those against the other work that we have to do. But for now, we're just looking to get an architecture put together of, if we were to do this, what would that look like?
Thanks, Sam. Great. Anybody have any questions for Sam on that? I always like when I think it's always important for us to explain the why on things, not just the, the what and the how, or describe the what, determine the how, but also, discussing the why is important. Why is it important to customers?
I have a question.
We haven't decided to do it. We've decided to brainstorming it to see what it would take to do it, feasibility, et cetera. But Zamir, you were saying?
I just have a question. Sam mentioned something about the percentage for people using the CI/CD and Auto DevOps. Is the percentage based on the licensing that they have, or is it more like, as you mentioned before, because the workflow that they have in place already?
So I'm not able to correlate that number back to the licensing that they have. So Auto DevOps is available all the way down to core. So people all the way down to core could use it, but I don't know how that percentage splits out between the different licensing tiers.
Okay, thanks for that. I was thinking about that because I'm not sure about the license that they would be required to use the cluster applications at the moment. That's why I was comparing those guys out. Thank you. Thanks for the answer.
Okay, so
When
we've
you
reached.
say, when you mention CI/CD, what do you have in mind exactly? I think I'm lagging a lot. Let
good.
me
We
move
heard
my
you.
laptop. You can hear me.
Yep.
All right. All right. Quick question. So when you mention CI/CD, what do you have in mind exactly? Using just a pipeline, or is that referring to something more precise than that?
So my understanding is that you have to have the pipeline job set up in order to use Auto DevOps, and you have to have Auto DevOps in order to use Cilium.
Okay, so yeah, my question is more, is having CI/CD only would be sufficient to you, or do we want to get rid of everything, Auto DevOps and CI/CD?
I would like to get away from everything so that a new customer could come in and just use Cilium without having to use any other aspect of GitLab.
As an option, not in replacement
As
of
an option.
today, as an option in addition
Right.
to today. Just to be clear. And with behind the scenes and how we implement it, we don't want to implement, wouldn't be everything, but just to be exaggerating, we don't want to implement everything twice to potentially to accomplish this. We want to brainstorm, how could we reuse as much as what we have and accomplish this?
Yeah, I mean, if we did decide to remove the current approach as an option to keep it consolidated down to one option, that would be okay. We don't have to get rid of it, keep it or get rid of it. That's up to you. But we would want to provide a way where CI/CD and Auto DevOps are not a requirement in order to use Cilium.
And again, we haven't decided to do this. We decided to investigate this and brainstorm on it. Just make it clear. So Philippe, it sounds like you have some thoughts.
Really first thoughts on that. Yeah, my first thoughts on that is we will need to, at some point, run some commands. There's no way we can run that in GitLab itself or in anything that would be secure enough to do that. So the only way to run commands, external commands, is through the CI/CD pipeline. So I don't see how we can get rid of that. But maybe there is a
Forward to
solution.
seeing your thoughts on the issue and the discussion tomorrow.
Yeah.
AKA,
So-
good thoughts,
So
definitely.
yeah, again, the assumption is they're not using it at all, right? So when we look at our competitors as well, they don't necessarily require you to, they let you put in container security without also having to have your code go through a whole CI/CD pipeline, right? They just connect directly to the containerized environment, and then they push what they need there. And so, that's a barrier that we don't want to have when we're stacking up against the competition. Anyway, as Wayne said, we definitely can dive into it more tomorrow, but hopefully you guys understand at least a little bit of the why we're trying to do this. And if you have more questions, I'm happy to discuss it as well in more depth.
Awesome.
Anytime I've got time.
Didn't mean to cut things off, but I think some other folks who are not on this call might come tomorrow, including Lucas, if he has time.
It's a good plug for the call that's tomorrow, and it's on the Defend stage calendar.
Yep. Is that everything we had on the agenda, Lindsay?
We are at the end of our agenda. If anyone else has any other items, we have a couple more minutes. Otherwise, we will see everyone at the staff meeting in 10.
Andy, Daniel, anything to add? Glad you were able to make it today. Just figured we'd ask. I see a thumbs up from Andy, and I think Daniel's on mute.
I think Daniel's probably multitasking.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, thanks everybody. This will be shared out on YouTube, and I'll also put the link to it in the group room in Slack. So talk to y'all in a few minutes.
Got it.